a roof collapsed in one of the, just a second. Sorry, today's March 14th. This is Tuesday Talks. I'm Christina Dillabo, Director of Communications for the Desert Southwest Conference. Thank you for joining us. I was just about to share that I just heard this morning that the roof collapsed in one of the buildings at Mingus Mountain Camp. I'm checking to see what building it was.
Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, so I don't know if Patricia's going to be joining us today or not. I haven't heard that she isn't, so I'm assuming that she is. But until she joins us, I'm going to go ahead and share other items that are happening. And I don't have any other information. It was just kind of a sidebar email. Somebody said something else. And well, you heard about the roof collapsed last night or over the weekend or something. Like, no. So I'll keep you posted on that, and maybe Patricia will join us and we'll have more information. So the first thing I want to share with you is about the annual conference mission project. So last week, I think it was, that Billy Fidlin joined us, the Director of Justice and Outreach from the Desert Southwest Conference, and she demoed the page where you communicators will find resources for advertising about the mission project. So one of the items that was linked on that page is this article, Annual Conference Mission Projects 2023. And the great thing about this particular article, which you can copy and paste into your own news, is that it does talk about all three mission projects, and it's fairly brief. So just wanted to share that that's something that you can copy and paste, and it is linked on that and dscumc.org/mission-project page. But I'm going to send you the link to that article specifically so you have it handy. Questions about that? Okay. Next item is about annual conference deadlines. So I'm going to go to dscumc.org/annual-conference. I'll share my screen. And that one is, here we go. And so some of the deadlines are already here. I'm adding more as things come up or I'm aware of it. One of the items is that the early bird registration, which is $150 for annual conference, that ends tomorrow. So I think it would be helpful if you contacted your clergy, your lay members to annual conference, anyone else that is planning on attending annual conference or participating online that's not an observer. Actually, I think even observers might have to. Anyway, let them know that the deadline is tomorrow. So after tomorrow, it goes up to by $25. The other item, is it on there now? Group discount. Yes, May 23rd is the deadline for the group discount at the hotel at annual conference. That's another kind of a big deal to share. So be sure to let people know about that. And then, of course, the resolutions and rule changes are due at the end of April 30th. So if there's anyone at your church that's working on something like this, let them know that that deadline is coming up. And there is a submission link here. Like, especially if they happen to be turning in a pre-conference report, they can use this form. Otherwise, they can email Jennifer Lambert, that's jlambert@dscumc.org, with their rule change. Then one item that I want to highlight is that this year's pre-conference briefing, normally this would be another thing that, oh, quick, I got to tell my pastor and my lay members to annual conference about the pre-conference briefing, because they'd have to register for that. They will need to register, but it's only going to be registering to watch a pre-recorded webinar. So it's a webinar on demand. We thought this might be the best way to reach everyone. By setting it up as pre-recorded, then people that couldn't make it on the specific day end up getting the, okay, so before, when we would have it live and then recording available for anybody that missed it, we started to learn that the people that missed the live experience were really missing out on the recording because the engagement was live. And so part of it is, okay, so now take out your device and practice voting. How did that go? Do you need help? And then they'd move on. So if you're watching that version as a recording and you're trying to follow along, if you're having any problems, well, that live assistance doesn't exist. So you're, out of luck there. So instead, what we're doing is planning the whole thing as a recording so everybody gets the same experience and they can see how voting is going to work. They'll learn about things that are coming up in during annual conference, about the legislation and how to ask questions, both about the legislative items, but also when they're voting. Hopefully this will help them be prepared, like have that help link bookmarked, have that phone number saved so that when annual conference comes, they already have some experience, some knowledge about how to ask for help. And then the actual practice will happen during annual conference. There'll be usually it's more than one practice voting session. Questions about that? Okay. So if they happen to ask about that, at this point, there's really nothing to communicate. Normally it would be up to you to remind them, hey, pre-conference briefing is coming up, register on this day. But this time it's just, if somebody asks you, I haven't seen anything about the pre-conference briefing, what's going on with that? Just know that information is coming, and it's probably going to be released between May 15th and the end of May, because normally the pre-conference briefing would be right around mid-May, but that's when we're going to record it, and then there'll be a little bit of editing time. So right after that is when we'll have it available. All right, so last weekend we had the bishop's installation service, and man, was it just beautiful, just a wonderful experience. And I know some people had registered and then found out something happened and they weren't going to be able to make it and were stressed and worried, wondering, is it going to be recorded? Is it going to be available somewhere? Yes, it was recorded and it is available already. If you go to dscumc.org/bishop-carlo, you'll find the link to the recording. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Right up here. It says watch the recording. That takes you right to our Vimeo account and you can watch the recording there. They may want to download the bulletin still to follow along because there are some portions in the service that are in another language, and the bulletin has everything translated in English. And then if they want to donate, they still can, but not for too much longer. I'm not sure when exactly the donation time is going to be cut off, but I'll find out and I'll share that with y'all. All right, questions about that? Okay. Then the next part is about questions that I received. So you may be asked, and if not, just maybe preemptively let your worship leader know that the conference is in fact still renewing every church's CCLI copyright license and CCLI streaming license. We all have our renewals synced to happen. I think it's April 30th. So they shouldn't stress about it. They may have received a notification. I don't know how churches find out about it, but every year I get emails asking me, oh no, the deadline's coming. Are you going to renew it? And so yes, the conference is going to renew it. It would be very helpful if you could email me your current in-person meeting attendance numbers, because the rates that we pay for the CCLI license are based off of those in person, not the live stream. So I'm sharing that because you've had to report that at different times. You know, we usually use the previous year's reporting, whatever's in the journal, but as I've started to talk to churches, I've learned that some churches are reporting both their in-person and live stream together for the journal because it's all attendance. But for the CCLI licenses, all they need is the in-person attendance. So you might have 320 people watching live and then 30 in person. And that costs a lot more than just the 30 people in person. So if you can send me that updated in-person worship attendance number, I'd really appreciate that. And be sure to say which church it's for and the city, because some of our churches have the same name. All right, thank you. Questions about that? Okay. Then likewise, the Zoom renewals. So that was due at the end of January. The Desert Southwest Conference doesn't pay for a Zoom license for every church, but it has extended the Zoom license discount to every church. And so it's a really much more affordable license, and I bet anything you can find out there on your own for Zoom. It's cheaper than TechSoup's 50% discount, and you get a lot more bells and whistles. And it's only $120 per license for the whole year. We don't offer it prorated because the conference has to pay the whole amount for the whole year when we renew. So if your church gets a new license in July, it's still going to be $120, and it's going to end at the end of the year, supposedly. It actually ends for you when I click deactivate for that license. So, I don't want churches to miss out on that Zoom license. It's, if you cancel a Zoom license one year, it doesn't mean that you're not eligible another year. You can drop it and pick it up anytime, but you still have to pay the $120 for the year that you're using it. And I realize there's other things on people's minds than did I pay my Zoom license through the conference on time, because the conference already paid for it. But at this point, I don't know. There's a large number this year that didn't pay for them yet, and I haven't heard if they're keeping them or not. Where other years, people will let me know, we're not going to continue, we're doing something else, so then I know to discontinue it. So it is paid for this year, but unless I hear otherwise, it is going to be deactivated. Unless I hear by the end of March 31st, I will plan on deactivating it and not renewing it for 2024. I think, yeah. So then I would have to shut it off on March 31st, sorry. And then, I won't renew it automatically unless I'm notified before the end of this month or at some point that, no, we do want to renew it, and then they pay for it and all that business. So I'm going to include the link to that Zoom license renewal or first time purchase form in my follow-up notes. Was I as clear as mud for that?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, now the very last thing I have to, no, I've got two more things. So one of the other things I wanted to share with you all is, I'm going to share my screen real quick too, so you can see. So you can see what's coming up of conference events by going to the calendar and scrolling ahead to other months. This month we had a lay servant ministry class scheduled. Well, it's not, of course it's not there anymore. I already moved it. Sometime this month. And it was, let's see here. It was Life Together in the United Methodist Connection. And registration was closed for it. But something happened, they have to reschedule. So people that have already registered have been contacted about the new dates, which will be May 13th and 20th. But that means that now registration is open again because they have only so many spots available, and there's still some spots available. So they're opening it up again so others can register. So I'm going to send you the link, but if you just go to the conference calendar, it's here on May 13th to register for this particular lay servant ministries class. Other classes that are happening are March 31st and April 1st, rediscovering our spiritual gifts. I'll stop sharing. And then April 15th and 22nd, it's called to preach. though I believe those first two, I mean, the March 31st and April 1st, Rediscovering Our Spiritual Gifts, that one's happening in person at First UMC in Winslow. So that's of interest mostly for people in the North District. And then April 15th and 22nd, Called to Preach, is happening at Sierra Vista UMC. Then I don't know about Life Together. Let me check. Sorry. That one, yeah.
The program that Beth Rambacher is offering, is that going to be on Zoom as well, or just in person?
It looks like that one's just in person, happening at Christ Church UM in Tucson.
I wish we could get that north.
Yeah, sorry. Well, maybe. So here's what you can do. I know that other times, I don't know that it will happen, but an option is to contact the lay servant ministries person in your area and say, I would love to get this specific class in our area. Can you get it registered? Because I know they've got those classes in different districts at different times. And if they know that there's interest in a specific one, they might be able to prioritize getting that scheduled in your district sooner than later.
So I shouldn't contact Beth. I should contact someone else then.
You could contact Beth, but it might be somebody else that leads it in your district.
Okay, I'll look. Thanks.
Yeah.
I had a question on that.
Uh-huh.
We don't seem to have had any lay servant classes in the Phoenix area recently. Is there a reason for that?
I don't know, I don't manage them, but I did just see this morning an email about a lay servant class that I don't know what district it's for. I think it was from Gretchen Lofgren, I think. And so there is going to be something coming up. I just saw the email. I haven't opened up all the information about it. But yeah, I don't know how they schedule those, if it's as they can get leaders or I don't know. All right. Any other questions about that one? Okay. The last item that I have to share with you is about the leadership talks. So last night's leadership talk with Sherry Hull, Start With Why, is recorded, and as soon as I've edited it and published it to our conference YouTube channel, it will be available to watch. If you go to the conference's Clergy and Lay Leader Development Committee. So let me show you how to do that. So I am logged in, but so you see extra things because I'm logged in. Sorry about that. But anywhere on the website, if you click on the icon of the logo, Desert Southwest Conference logo, it takes you to the homepage. But if you just went to dscumc.org, you'd get to the homepage as well. And then by scrolling down, you'll find the list of all of our conference committees. And the leadership talks is led by the Clergy and Lay Leadership Development Team. So if you just click on that one, you'll get to their page. The shortcut is dscumc.org/CLLD. That's short for Clergy Lay Leadership Development. All right, so you could either click here to go to the leadership talk videos, or you can stay on this page and scroll all the way down to the resources, and you can see links to the previously recorded leadership talks and other resources that they have available. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. That whole time I wasn't sharing, was I?
No. Oops.
Okay, so I was showing that if you click on the logo up here, it takes you to the home page. And if you scroll down, oh boy, that's funny. I was wondering, why do I still see that number there? Scroll down, here's where all the committees are listed, and here's Clergy and Lay Leadership Development. Clicked on it once. Did I click on it? Okay, now I clicked on it. Maybe. All right, well, if you click on it, it normally goes to the committee page, and then you should see it. Goodness, okay, let me go to
I feel your
Oh,
pain.
it is there. It's there. It's just taking a minute. Oh, bless you. No, it just did something weird. Okay, so here's the clergy and lay leadership development page. This is the green button to get to the page that only shows just stacked up list of all the different videos, the leadership talks. Of course, here you can see the other events that are coming up. And down here, this is the resources section where you can find the other recordings and other resources that they have. Okay, questions about that?
They
Go ahead,
already
Jim.
had Sherry's presentation up on the recording part of it. I think Lori sent me an email this morning.
So you all get, people that registered get a follow-up email with the recording out of Zoom. What I do is I'll download that recording and I'll clean up by clean up, I mean, I'll cut out or edit out all the parts where there's any hesitation. If there was some, like in this case, there was some issues with being able to show the presentation. So I'll cut all of that out, and the introduction at the beginning where it gives you, the live viewer, instructions to turn off your video if you don't want to be seen. That part's cut out. But the introduction of the guest speaker is left in. Any actual content of that leadership talk is kept in there. And the reason for that is just because we have really short attention spans. And so I want to make sure that people get what they're looking for and they don't lose interest because, like, oh, when are they going to be able to share this presentation? How much longer is this going to happen? So that's what I try to do. And that's why we don't just share the Zoom version of the recording. Great question. Thanks. Because I'm sure other people have wondered, why is it taking so long? I already got the recording. Why don't they just link it? So that's why. All right. Any other questions? I don't know. I guess it's looking like Patricia's not going to be able to make it today. And I guess it's probably because of that, the roof situation. So I'm going to check really quick while I look up that email that talked a little bit about it.
I hope nobody was hurt. No one was hurt.
Yeah. I think if somebody was hurt, I would have heard about it. So at least there's that good news. So it's the roof collapsed at La Pointe Hall at Mingus, but it doesn't say when it happened. So they're looking at what the insurance is going to cover. So I'm sure more news will be coming, but in the meantime, until I'm sure Patricia's probably going to join us at some other time, or maybe she'll have an article available. But you can send her an email with questions, specifics of, if you want to just let her know. Like last time we had Tuesday Talks, Megan had a wonderful question, comment, request about, can you just provide this as a ready to use graphic for Facebook and all that. So things like that, if you have anything to recommend like that to Patricia, so that all churches are ready to share. And it's not an issue of like, I would have shared, but I just don't have time. I can't create something new for every little thing that comes up. I get it. So, and I'm sure she's willing to do any of that stuff to make sure that you all have what you need to be able to advertise the camp and retreat events that are coming up. I think one of the bigger things would be how or why would I share this if there, maybe it's a retreat for single women and you have nothing but married women at your church. So like, why should I share this? It doesn't relate to my church. Patricia might have an answer to that may seem compelling enough that, yeah, you're right, we should share this in our church. That's the kind of thing that I would imagine, but outside of that, there might be other things like, what about the scholarships that I would want to share? So maybe that. Any other questions or comments? All right, then thank you all for joining me. I will see you next week on Tuesday Talks.
Could I take a minute of your time?
Let me see how to